Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Let's remind you that it's 31 days to the conduct of Nigeria's general election. So how ready are you for the polls? Today on the program, President Buhari decorates Mohammed Adamu as the new Inspector General. Ibrahim Babangida counsels army to change tactics in the face of gargantuan challenges. And later on the show, gunmen evade 2 Sokoto villages, kill 25 as 3 die in fresh Kaduna attack. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Gani Kayode Balogun, and Wale Adeoye. So if you are ready, let the hangout start. Let me first of all start the program by congratulating our OC, Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land. That is Gani Kayode Balogun, as he was honored by the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land. That is Ọ̀túnba Abi Iba Gani Adams. Congratulations, GKB.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I bet they know they say Kai Chief.
You can say that, Chief. I didn't bring my spectre. I will have blessed you.
That's OC, Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land.
Yeah.
Congratulations, GKB.
Thank you.
Over to the business now. After much speculation about tenure extension for the Inspector General in some quarters, there is a change of guard at the Nigerian police. The retired Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, who attained the statutory 35 years in service, is to be succeeded by Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, albeit in acting capacity. Until his appointment, Adamu was serving at the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, in Jos. With a general election just a few weeks away and insecurity plaguing many parts of the country, the new police boss has his work cut out. Meanwhile, let us take some reactions from the 2 IGPs.
And I think I've reached the pinnacle of my career. So I'm going to hand over to my successor. He's the coming Inspector General of Police. He's an officer I knew very well. We knew each other in the past. We have worked together. And I wish him all the success.
What legacy are you leaving behind you?
The advice I'll give him is that just like during our time, he should try to go around the country, understand the country, and adapt measures to ensure that the Nigerian Police Force give maximum protection to lives and properties of Nigerians.
I would like to thank Mr. President for considering me worthy to be the next Inspector General of Police. And we know there are challenges, security challenges that we need to tackle in the country. We have issues of kidnapping, we have issues of abduction, we have some other security challenges, and we are going to re-strategize. From the strategy the former Inspector General put in place, we will re-strategize to make sure that we tackle these challenges head on.
The outgoing
and the ingoing.
and the incoming. Babajide, let's just look at the stewardship of Ibrahim Idris. And he served, he retired, is going to be retired this January, I think sometimes yesterday or so. But the bottom line is that a lot of people were talking about an extension because of election and everything. What did you think happened? Because I read an exclusive that the president was seeking advice. I don't know how valid that is and everything. What would you say about the stewardship of Ibrahim Idris?
I can spend the whole of this program talking about how the former IG ran the police, and a lot of what I will say will not be palatable. The president would have done a great disservice to our country if he had extended Idris's time. And he knows it in his heart The president knows it. He knows that Idris ought to have left before now. He knows it. President Buhari knows it. Because most Nigerians also know it's not possible for majority of Nigerians to see things in a particular way, and the president will now assume that, oh, it has to be his own way that is right. No. What is wrong is wrong. Look at what the IG did. He literally politicized the police.
How?
Under him, politicians can pile pressure that they want all DCs in their states, all ACs in their states removed. And he will go ahead and do it. The last one he did was in Imo. The president had to reverse the decision. How do you send all DCs away from a state? You redeploy them because a politician did not want them. He thinks that they will not be loyal to him. All DCs, all ACs, you just send people. Look at what happened in Bayelsa. How many police commissioners Bayelsa within a short time?
Like 2-3 months.
9. Has it ever happened in the history of our country?
What was that about?
Tell me. It's the politicization of the police that happened under his watch. That is not all. The most irresponsible promotions, the most irresponsible promotional, what's it called? How do I describe itself?
Promotions.
The most illogical, the most inexcusable, the most irresponsible promotions that we had in the police happened during Idris's time, whereby people who had not even spent up to one year on a rank got promoted. People who did not sit for promotional exams got promoted. Go to police barracks and ask. As we speak, policemen are they are still feeling extremely bad over the kind of promotions that happened under Idris's watch, which the president didn't do anything about. Or probably the president didn't hear. Or he would say he was not told. If as little as I am, I got to know that Idris promoted people who did not merit to be promoted. And they did it. It looked like a gargantuan scandal for which policemen are extremely bitter as I speak. We all know that. Yeah, just across board. You will find that a boy who was saluting you just yesterday has suddenly become your boss. Of everything that we are saying, people know. The policemen know. Because we have a habit of not wanting to say the truth. How we want to face our maker when we've made a habit of revolting against the truth, I do not know. A boy that you trained, people that you trained, people that you trained in the police, within a few months, you will now be mandated to be saluting them. In fact, one even famously said to his boy,
I don't know
I don't even know how to greet you now. I don't know how to address you now. Because he has suddenly become
his boss.
Is that professionalism? You see this new man who has just got into the place. I don't envy him. In fact, I find it difficult to congratulate him because I don't know where I will start from.
Because what's on ground?
Because he's in trouble. I don't know where I will start from. We have to tell ourselves the truth. Where I will start from, honestly, I don't know. Training institutions in the police, the detective school is in Enugu, locked up. No, that's what intelligence literally dead in the police. What we have with the Abakiaris of this world, the IRT shouldn't actually be under the IG. It should be under the FIB. Federal Investigation Bureau. That's where they should be working. Well, he brought them under himself, and that's probably the only organ of the police that we can say, yes, this truly works, because they are adequately equipped.
The tools,
They have the tools to work. Honestly, what Idris did with the police, if the current IG does it, we will swear for him. Because it makes no sense to come into a place and leave it in Tata. This man spent 9 years, the new man. You know, Idris was the one who sent him to NIPS.
To school.
Not to school. Not to school, but to represent the police. There's a difference between going to NIPS to read and going there as a representative of the police. Many things happen in our country. It's a funny country. Many things happen. To represent the police at NIPS. It's just like the Jide Otitoju being posted now
To marketing.
to Daleko Market, where they sell rice, to go and represent TVC. Is it logical? Is that the reason for which other people go there? Just post people. And to cap it or look at even the scandal of the young police lady. That one, we don't even want to talk about it here. And the president knew about these things. He wanted to send them packing, but the president felt, he will soon leave. Let me just hang on.
GKB,
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of police officers and friends. I know that, you know, you familiarize a lot with them. And, and when you want to look at what happened under Ibrahim Idris, and even across political parties, they were complaining, especially even within the ruling, the opposition, APC and everything. Yeah. So, what are those steps that should be taken in, you know, selecting, picking the Inspector General of Police?
Well, we all know that merit ends at Deputy Commissioner of Police. There's a time it used to end at Commissioner of Police, but Idris has made sure that that no longer applies. Like Gide said, and like we had, you must remember that he not only did that, he also ensured that for the first time, people of lower ranks were given command positions when their officers, languishing in schools, languishing in some funny corners of the country, who are capable of doing these jobs, deliberately creating a clique of his own, what they call loyalists, and punishing those he thinks are not loyal to him. Don't forget a particular case of promoting a man on Thursday and posting him to a very strategic state on Friday. The man was on Wednesday a deputy commissioner of police. He was promoted to commissioner of police on Thursday. I was promoted to the most strategic state in the country on Friday. He took the collective resistance of everybody to stop that kind of rubbish to take place. And that caused across the entire country. What he did with police is unforgivable. I know officers of the police today, if there is a chance that they will be in the same with Idris, with a loaded gun and light wet off, they don't know what will happen. This man promoted people above their body weights, ensuring that officers who are served at UN level, at all those levels across the world, are dealt with deliberately to ensure that they let them know. He was not hiding it. He would tell them to their face. Remember, there's a particular commissioner of police when there was a state was at war, and everybody was trying to dodge. That's why I said, let's send him there. And the man said, you are sending me to that particular war zone. And he said, yes, you're supposed to be a superstar. Go and show the stuff.
Show your stuff.
Instead of the man showed the stuff, and the first thing he did was to move him again and throw him somewhere into the fire room at the head office. This man has destroyed Nigerian police. The new man has only two options. Set up a committee or a commission, whatever name he wants to call it, and reverse those promotions. Those guys know they don't deserve it. They know they are sitting on a keg of gunpowder, and it's extremely dangerous. Because, like they said, imagine a man who is your bat boy just 6 years ago is now your boss. To be a bad boy to an officer requires at least 2 ranks to be between the two of you. That means if you are a DCP, you probably be an SP. Imagine him under 6 years becoming your boss. How do you function?
People did not sit for promotional exam. They gave him 3 stars. Give him 3 stars in this police. Someone moved from someone a few months ago, using that as an illustration, was an ACP. Then you took him and made him police commissioner in a state.
While getting your intervention now, before we entered the studio, I was discussing with Jide Otitoju, and we were talking about that practice of you have brilliant Deputy Inspector General of Police. You might have like 4 or 5 of them, Deputy Inspector General of Police. You have AI, even AIG. There's a tendency that they go from the back, the list of the AIGs, and wipe out all
Careers.
the career officers after investing, after training them, after doing so much. And we have victims that we can name. With the coming on board of this Inspector General of Police, definitely all the DIGs are gone. And some AIGs that are senior to him.
Well, I think the worst thing that can happen to an institution like the police is when discipline collapses in the face of nepotism, favoritism, and corruption. It's going to affect the psyche. Every aspect of security in the country will be affected. I think, apart from blaming the IG, we also have to question the institutions. It appears there is no effective tracking mechanism. He joined the police in 1984, I think. Over that career of 35 years, the first day in advanced countries, there will be a record. There will be people tracking him. That's what the Police Service Commission is supposed to do. To track, you know.
Nobody, the issue is political decision makers.
Yeah, that is what has destroyed professionalism.
Whether there is a history of good conduct by a police officer, they are not bothered. They will even overlook that. But he is talking about this idea of just going to pick someone so junior.
We mentioned people like Ishak Abila.
Yes.
That
in
DIG operations
in 2016
that
when he
conducts
came.
elections, supervises
brilliant,
elections, very brilliant.
He was AIG and moved over, you know, the DIG.
He's gone now.
But if there are records, if they have kept a track record on him, he would have probably left as, even he would not even have become commissioner of police. So because when we are talking about building institutions, this is why these things are very important. Because if you keep on promoting people when they are not qualified, it's going to have long-term impact, you know, on the service itself. So, and I think one of the most worrisome trend that we noticed in his tenure was the abuse of power by SARS. People are being killed anyhow. And he set up a reform that lasted for about 3 months. Nothing came out of it. It was just like more or less like photo opportunism. So the new IG has a lot of work to do. It needs to reclaim the heritage of the police force, because as it is now, it is totally battered. I'm happy that the president took a swift decision. If he had delayed it for a day more, there would have been a problem. You know, it's a very good thing that it was removed today, and I hope the new person will realize the enormity of the problem at hand. If they don't resolve this problem, you can't deal with banditry, you can't deal with kidnapping, abduction, all those things will be on the increase. Because the morale of the police itself, you know,
especially the officer,
extremely low. If you go to the barracks and talk to policemen, all these things we are saying, that is exactly the way they feel. If you are a popular IG, the whole world will know that you are very popular. I think he has left extremely bad footsteps in the annals of Nigerian police force, and history will be unkind to him.
Judy, looking at what I just asked Wale now, I remember the Israel Ajaos of this world, people that you look up to.
I firmly understand the question. You don't even need to ask me, because that has been the case. It is not a case of people or policemen not having records that we can track. It is not a case of political decision makers not even knowing the policemen who are good enough, who are brilliant, who are incorruptible. They are there. Nigerian police, no matter what we say about them, there are police officers that you can never give bribe to and they will take it from you. There are examples. And some of them have risen to the level of even commissioner of police, and people know them. There is a certain Adeoye in Osun. You can't even bribe him with a woman. You know him. Olafimi. Go and check his record.
People like
you
that.
Can't bribe him.
People like that might not make it to be Inspector General.
That is the thing. That we don't even, because we are a nation that abhors the truth.
Totally.
Such people, we will not even let them get there. The idea of headhunting people who are so junior, we now pick them because we think those ones will do that job for us. We think those ones are the ones that we can trust. And then we bring them. When we bring them, we will now promote, we will now send packing their bosses. And those guys that we have invested so much. It costs a lot of money. It's just like training a soldier. You go to the best training institutions, work at Interpol, like this man now. He worked in Interpol for 9 years. He was in
almost
France.
a decade, yeah.
Yes. Now, you train people. Suddenly, we want to pick a commissioner, an IG. We go to the AIGs. We can't pick amongst the DIGs who had worked with the other man who were much more familiar with the system. We go and pick from AIG, and then we send
junior AIG.
Yes, even junior AIG. We now send, because Idris was a junior AIG when they
no, he was AIG for a year.
Yes.
When Buhari came in, he was commissioner of police in Kano.
He was commissioner of police in Kano. Now, what it meant was we forcefully retired so many officers, and for the first time, policemen went to court on account of being compulsorily retired. It's painful because they represented a crop of the best trained policemen that we have. When you see Joshak Habila, you see training oozing out of him, and he's respected by his colleagues. Respected by his colleagues,
you see Johnson Ogushake.
You see them. You see them, you say, yes, this is a well-trained officer. You see him. Today, he will not have the chance to be
Inspector General.
And when he looks behind him, you will find it difficult to find anybody as seasoned, as prepared for that job like him. That's the way we are. Because, excellent operations persons are not many in the police.
Yep.
They are not many.
Yeah.
This Olafime that we're talking about is an operations person to the core. To the core. So, but we must stop the idea of going to pick IGs from the ranks of AIGs. That's not how it's done in other places. We must stop the idea. Even when Obasanjo picked Tafa Balogun, it was the same thing. Tafa Balogun was at War College and he came first in the exam. And Obasanjo felt a policeman performing so well in the War College, then they thought he must become IG when he didn't really know him sufficiently. And he gave him the opportunity. Only for that to
under him, he promoted a lot of policemen, he did a lot of welfare.
We are not talking about, do you know how many of the policemen that were retired because they chose Tafa? They retired so many of them. It's the same thing that happened now, that happened at that time. So it's what we consistently do, but it's not good for the country. It's not good. You should be able to pick the successor to the IG from amongst the most senior. Today in the Supreme Court, you cannot bypass seniority.
It's ranking.
It's ranking. If you want to become the next Supreme Court, CJN, everyone will know because you are the number 2.
We know the next 5. Yeah.
We know. You know, who is, if this one doesn't get there, maybe that Lagos man. We know. We know the way it is. That was why Baba Salami said he did not want to be promoted to Supreme Court because his own juniors,
Justice Salami, yes.
His own juniors, he will now become their juniors when he gets to Supreme Court because it's the day you get there that they start counting. So we should be able to come up with a system that ensures that these people from the ranks, from within the ranks of DIGs, you can find someone.
I have my caller, first caller, Joseph. Joseph is calling from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Joseph.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Joseph.
Yeah, good evening.
All right, thank you for hanging out with us.
I'm with you. Good evening, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Babajide. Good evening, everybody.
I'll greet you.
In fact, God will continue blessing Babajide for speaking the truth. Because Babajide have been standing on the truth. So concerning this former IG Idris, everything Babajide and everybody said there is all he did. The man have really destroyed Nigerian police force. But one thing I want to put down there, we will still trace everything Idris did to the head of the state. which is the president, because he allowed those things. If he does not like everything Idris did, he would have removed Idris for long. He preserved him there because he liked those things. He was taking pleasure in all the things he has done. And the problem of the country now can be traced to what has happened to police.
He didn't like everything. He was
Well,
overruling
it's his
him
own
now.
opinion.
When Idris decided that the security men guiding the Anambra governor should be taken away, what did the president?
The president
was
called
very
Ishaq
angry.
Abila in that
Was very angry.
stadium.
The president was very angry
Immediately and told
and
him
he reversed it.
to reverse it.
When he decided
I saw
that
it.
less than 48 hours to election was the time to arrest the candidate of the PDP in Osun, the president immediately reversed it. So it's not like everything that he did, the president was happy with. In fact, the president was embarrassed by some of his actions.
GKB, moving forward now.
Yeah.
Jide spoke about the kind of, that's the new IG.
Yeah.
That's it's not the position is not a very, very envious,
It's an odd seat right now.
enviable position right now. But the bottom line is that things must be done properly. So where should this new IG start from? Set an agenda.
You should set the agenda. The agenda is very clear. Reverse all those dubious promotions. That's the only way to even start. Because I'm telling you, people in the police are extremely unhappy. You're talking about people who've put in 20, 25, 30 years to the force. And don't forget that the police also knows the criminals. And all they have to do is to look away for the country to go into chaos. That's all they have to do. They don't have to be part of it. They just look away and said, go and call your golden boy now. Let them come and do it.
Your star boys.
Let them come and do this. Why are you calling on me? So the first thing must do is reverse that anomaly called promotions. Some people got double promotions in a year, in a force that is structured. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It's a structured force. If you catch a thief today, you are given a medal. If you catch another one tomorrow, you are given another medal. It's not by promotion. Promotion is not something you will reward for work you are employed to do. It's not done. And that to me is the first and only thing in there to do. He has about 2 years, all things being equal. So he doesn't need to kill himself trying to solve every problem. Solve the problem of this promotion.
No, he said we'll re-strategize.
They have to do that.
That's one way of telling you that.
They are going to change
He
strategies.
talked about the strategies of the former man. He said, we will re-strategize. That should send the message clearly to people that he does not want to continue the negative tendencies of the chairman.
I think that was the strong word. We will re-strategize. He needs to do it swiftly and decisively because time is not on his part. He has just about 2 years, to be on that stage. So he just needs to start, if possible, tonight.
We'll take this break. When we come back, Ibrahim Babangida counsels army to change tactics in the face of gargantuan challenges. Stay with us. Still journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this timeout. This is Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from Television Continental. There's no doubting in the fact that the army, with the best strategies and tactics, wins war. Hence, the call on the Nigerian armed forces to change tactics in the face of mounting security challenges, especially the intractable war against insurgency. Former military president, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, has joined the call, urging the military to evolve new combat strategy to put the Boko Haram insurgents at bay. In a statement to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Minna, Niger State, General Babangida said it is heart-rending and unacceptable that terrorists continued to hold the country to ransom. With this coming from an ex-commander, we hope it will sink home. Jide, a message from General Babangida, and it's clear. Yes. He urged the army to change tactics in the face of mounting insecurity. Okay. Can you just break that down?
We too have asked for a change of tactics. Yeah.
Personnel.
We did that a long time ago. The army is defensive. The Chief of Army Staff has promised, he promised during the Chief of Army Staff conference in Maiduguri that the tactics will change, that the army will now begin to go on the offensive, which was exactly what we asked them to do. But there are limitations. Weapons, a new tactic, an offensive tactic, is dependent on availability of certain caliber of weapons. If you do not have sufficient weapons, you cannot go on the offensive. If, for example, you look within a platoon, I mean within a brigade, there is a number of troops that must be present, a number of tanks that must be present, a number of armored vehicles, gun trucks and the rest. If you do not have this equipment in the right number, you do not have the right number of equipment,
And not obsolete.
then you cannot be ambitious to the point of going on the offensive. That is the major problem that the army has. Now, when the army wants to go on the offensive these days, what they do is they will try to mobilize equipment and men from other locations so that they can now face the enemy there. Because, as I said, I think last week, the Nigerian army is not as strong as it used to be under IBB. And IBB himself is one of the people who put the army in the mess that the army is today.
Responsible.
Most IBB came up with the idea that you do not need a large army in peacetime, and he decided to slash our troop strength. Today, we have seen the value of having a large army because we are unable to put enough troops in the northeast to enable us hold ground. So you have a situation in which we can actually capture and recapture a community up to 3-4 times. Because you capture, you don't have enough troops to hold the location. The enemy comes back. When you hear that the enemy has gone back there, you send troops back there to recapture the place. So you recapture, they come back again. So we don't have, look at countries like Algeria, countries like Egypt.
Like 1 million
large
infantry
large
soldiers.
Army. Look at us. I don't think, as we speak, from investigation, we have about 30,000 troops in the northeast. You know, I once said that I don't think that we have up to 40,000. My investigations showed clearly that I was right. We have in the region of 38,000 troops in the northeast. That is not enough to secure that area. And we really don't have a choice.
And they are involved in operations nationwide.
No.
Yes, we had troops in Mali. Because we did not have enough troops, we brought them back from Mali, even at the thick of the fighting there in 2013. We had to bring them back. So, and it was IBB that caused this. Some of the trainings that the army used to go for in those days, soldiers were going to Sandust. He stopped training. And an army that is improperly trained is a useless army. That is the situation that we find ourselves. So what we need to do now is to carefully begin to rebuild our army, increase the troop strength, give them training, and let the president buy the weapons that he promised. Without that, we cannot solve these problems. It's not a matter of just saying they should change tactics. Tell them the tactics that you want them to deploy.
GKB, your take on IBB's advice?
Apart from the fact it's coming from the wrong person.
Why?
Because, like I said, it's
a military general.
It's part of the problem. And I don't like it when it's like Obasanjo counseling people on how to use power. We know how he used it when he was there. The problem of the Nigerian army today is the problem that the U.S. Army faced when they started fighting non-regular wars. They created units that are trained solely for those kinds of wars. And most countries have also done that. We have remained stuck in our colonial past. We are still fighting a new army with old ideas, with old strategies, with worn-out tactics. And unless and until we are sure that we know what we want, because like Gideon said, it's one thing to serve, you can even serve as a defensive army, but you don't have enough men to even hold it. You understand? If you have enough resources, I say, I don't want to fight, but I want to protect this piece of territory. Yeah, why not? But we have neither the skill to hold it, nor the equipment to advance. So right now, it's not just a piece of advice that will change that. We need to create dedicated, call it commando, call it whatever name you want to call it whatever designation you think is right. By now, 9 years into this war, we ought to have had, if not a division, at least a battalion or two that are specialized in going to Sambisa or whatever forest they are and fighting them on their own terms. We are still fighting this war as if they were a regular army. Nobody has defeated a ragtag army in the last 100 years. Ask them in Colombia. Ask them in former Vietnam. You cannot, because they don't obey conventional laws and they don't fight according to timetable. They fight when it suits them, and the target is random. It's not based on whatever you set. So I personally, by now, I expect that we will have either, I don't know what they will call them, battalions dedicated to making sure they too, we too can eat along.
Well, I think there's no doubt Babangida, the former president, head of state of this country, was in power for about 8 years. You can't roll out the fact that he has some experiences to offer but he was not specific. Probably we don't expect him to make public specific suggestions that he has for the army in terms of how they should change tactics. But then, like Gide has said, you cannot analyze these issues out of the historical context in which we find ourselves today. Babangida was one of the major problems that introduced nepotism, corruption into the army. In fact, he was the one responsible for the decimation of the Air Force after the alleged coup by Vatsa. Okay. The Air Force was made totally redundant. No weapon, no new
cannibalized their weapons.
And those things were done to protect his interests, not to protect the interests of the state. So all these things you are seeing that is going on, it's a reflection of what has been happening over the years. And of course, the emergence of somebody like Abacha was also through the machination of Babangida, who came and also destroyed the army. So he left him to take over from him. So it's so easy for him now to start offering suggestions and that, but he was one of the pioneers, that led to the situation that we find ourselves today. But I think in terms of moving forward, the army also needs to strengthen intelligence. An army that knows its enemy needs not fear a million battles. If you don't know the people that you are fighting, the cells, the commanders of the cells, their modus operandi, the way they operate, in order for you to be able to dismantle them. And then you must also have the capacity to check the saboteurs within. Because you see what happened in Mbaga and Milete, where those strategic places were occupied and attacked. There must have been some informants that offered free information to the insurgents. So I think the army needs to strengthen. You may have the old weapons in this world, but if you don't have intelligence about the enemy you are fighting, then they are really going to be ahead of you.
All right, moving on now. In an election year with critical polls just weeks away, coping with the mindless killing is not just only distracting, but gravely disturbing. The saddening news of another mindless killings in the Itato peaceful state of Sokoto on Monday is troubling and appalling. Some armed bandits had invaded 2 villages in Rabat local government area in northwest states, killing about 25 people crossing to Kaduna State. Some gunmen also wreaked havoc on Sunday when they opened fire on innocent people who were walking on the bridge in Guam Chiefdom of Jema local government area of the states. 3 people died in the wake of that senseless attack. When are we going to wake up from this nightmare? Julie, for some time now, we've been told that some strange guys, from entering the border of Sokoto, and they've been troubling that community for some time now. they've not identified them as Boko Haram. I don't know, maybe they are coming in from, but they've been, for some time now, they've been having these challenges.
See, first and foremost, Boko Haram's cells are not active outside the Northeast. That's one reason that we have peace in Abuja, we have peace in Kano, those places where they used to attack. In the past, they had active cells in those places, and they could give them instruction, go and defend, go and attack this place, go and drop a bomb. You know, they will go to a motor park in Kano, put a bomb between watermelon and other, and people will die. It's not as if we've come up with extraordinary security measures. Because some time ago when I went to Abuja, and I went to a place that Boko Haram once bombed. One of the shopping malls there. I went there. No security of any sort. If I came with a vehicle laden with explosives, that's how I will have killed people. It's not as if we've come up with extraordinary measures. It's just that they've chosen not to keep those cells active, and they've now concentrated their strengths, their powers in the Northeast. That is one of the tactics of a terrorist group that knows that it is facing certain death. So all that you have, concentrate it in the area that you still control. That's what Al-Shabaab is doing in Somalia, in the face of a consistent attack from Kenyan forces. But some people think that, oh, it's an extraordinary security measures. Where? Even if you are coming from the airport, you know, in those days, they will check your vehicle. Nobody still checks in Abuja these days. I challenge you, go to Abuja, you are coming, nobody checks your vehicle. Some people can even move into the federal capital like that and kill people. Boko Haram cells in those places are no longer active. That is the fact. So in Sokoto, the people who killed these guys are not Boko Haram. It is still the same bandits operating in Zamfara that are going to operate in Katsina, that are going to Sokoto to operate, because
are they foreigners?
There are Nigerians amongst them, but a lot of them are foreigners. But you know, those foreigners can't even kill our people here without the connivance of our own people. Remember that the governor of Zamfara State suspended and removed some traditional rulers who were found to be conniving with bandits and giving them intelligence information, you know. So they know where to go and they know who to attack. Look at those twin sisters that were kidnapped from Zamfara. How did anyone know that they were going for that wedding where they were picked up? And then in the end, we had to pay ransom to get them off the hook. You know, so this is the situation. We have, and the same local government was attacked in July last year. So we should have found a way to protect the people. To protect the people so that these guys do not just come. If just five gunmen on 5 motorbikes will now come and kill that many people, that should tell you that our communities are not protected. We are sitting dogs. Those of us who are alive, we owe it to God. We should be thankful. Every day we wake up, we should be thankful.
It's the grace of God.
Life has become extremely cheap. Life has become worthless like a sweet wrap on the floor in our country. And that shouldn't be the case. It's all those countries around, especially countries not far away from Niger Republic border, all those states. Not far away from Niger Republic, because the Niger Republic, to me, as I've said here, is like a failed state. They are one reason we are unable to defeat Boko Haram, because they give refuge to these Boko Haram fighters. And then we are seeing bandits streaming from their country into our country. That's why the Katsina state government had to go and have a meeting with the Nigerian authorities, because they know that once they can secure that end, their people will live in peace. So all those states, the president must find a way. The president and the leaders of the security agencies must devise a strategy that will protect people in those 3 states that are not far away from Niger Republic, so that the borders can be kept safe and we won't be
I wanted
killing
to
our
ask
people.
GKB, what are we doing about the porous nature of our border all around?
Obviously nothing, especially in the northern parts of the country. There was a time it was basically for smuggling. But don't forget, after smugglers will come bandits. They move together. And the danger we have now is that we are, at least in certain areas of our country, beginning to look like a failed state because we cannot protect the vulnerable. And don't forget, it is on TVC that you see, when you see these people talk, you can see the helplessness. You can see the hopelessness. And some of them are saying they don't know where to go. They've gone around in circles. Some have become IDPs by choice, not because somebody chased them away. Things are that bad in the fringes of our country, from the northeast to the northwest. And there's only one thing we can do, is to ensure that governance, at whatever level, respond quickly to the cause of these people. Because the only complaint they make all the time is the fact that they will call the appropriate authorities and there will be no response for 3, 4, 5 hours. By then the bandits have come
left.
and they are gone. And that is the worst
There are no
part.
good roads to
No,
those
the roads
areas.
are bad.
Yes,
Remember when I went there?
That's Zamfara.
that's what-
Yes.
So the
Even
shots,
the
when
God-
I saw the
remember
road,
the truck, the military truck.
They have to come
That I
down.
was driving. The military truck, we lost a tire because the road was so bad. So the soldiers had to come down. And on both sides are hills where snipers could actually shoot us.
Damn.
So I was like, is this, what's going on? No roads, no water, no light. So those guys know once they attack those communities, and usually they attack in the night, the people can't escape, nowhere to go. Even there's no cell, what's it called?
No cell reception.
GSM network.
GSM network. So you can't call immediately.
Wale, what can we do?
Well, I think it's a very bad thing that we ended last year with stories like this, and then this year again we started with, killings and all that. I think these are bandits, criminals, criminal gangs, but there is the danger that they could also be infiltrated by fundamentalists. We have seen examples in some parts of the world where fundamentalists will recruit criminals to further political goals. And if you read what has been happening in international news, that with what is going on in Syria and Iraq, many of these guys are moving to the Maghreb region, which is very close to Nigeria. It will be a very bad thing for us to have this crisis in the northeast, and then another, violent group taking foothold in the northwest. I think it will be too bad for our country. The middle belt already has its own challenges. So before you know it, if nothing is done, it's going to embolden other bandits across the country to challenge the state, to question the authority.
The whole Sokoto state.
I think we need to see it as a national challenge. Samfara,
Katsina.
Katsina. So 3 states now, almost on a weekly basis, they won't cancel that. So I think we need to move very fast
Even the Katsina
to
governor
identify
to
these
say
elements
nobody
and
is
then
safe.
to deal decisively with them before it gets out of hand.
What is happening in Kaduna again?
No, the people have chosen not to forgive one another. Chosen not to forgive one another. The day people make up their minds that they forgive one another, all those killings will end.
So the one of Kaduna State is like self-inflicted. What is happening
No, not
in Kaduna?
revenge. No, it's just revenge. People lost their loved ones years ago. It still rankles, and they feel that anytime they get an opportunity, they must avenge the killing. So because how can people be going on their own?
On a bridge.
They have not looked for your trouble, and then you open fire on them. So there are people who are capable of avenging wrong done them even 40 years ago. And as long as people have that spirit.
Innocent people.
Yes. When they come, these bandits and other people, do they want to know? A 1-year-old boy was killed in these Sokoto killings now, and 4 women. So do those ones have conscience? Do they ask? All they want to do, they've come to loot. We are in dry season. People have stocked their barns with food, with produce, and they come to steal. So they first open fire, scare you people, scare the daylight out of you, then they start stealing your things. That's the strategy. And now about 8 local governments in Katsina are affected.
8?
Yes, all those local governments that are located close to Zamfara. You know, they are bombarding them in Zamfara, so they are moving into Katsina. That's the way they are coming down. Before you know it, once you are in Katsina, Katsina is very close to Kano. It's very close to Kano and Jigawa. You can, you can be sure that they will come into Kano unless serious measures are taken. And these guys, the more they escape with these actions, the more they get bold. They will just feel that, look, what are these people talking about? Maybe it was a policeman that they ambushed the other day and killed about 16. So the time will come when, and they've been killing soldiers too. Kill soldiers in Benengwari, they've killed soldiers in Zamfara. So if they are this bold and they continue to kill our people in this way, and we cannot find a way to stop them and serve them justice, then the danger is that they will move further down and enter other states. It's 3 states now in the northwest.
Wale, how will this not affect our election?
Well, it's a major challenge for the new IG. And I think the starting point is to mop up illicit weapons. The former IG promise was announcing on radio he was going to, but nothing was done.
He was going to withdraw security policemen from VIPs.
Yes.
He was going to stop roadblocks.
All those things didn't happen. So illicit weapons, there are just too many in this country. They need to be mopped up. I think that's what the IG should do right now.
We are preparing for election in the midst of insecurity in this part of the country.
But it was a major plank of the campaign in 2015. Security was a major plank of the campaign in 2015. We hope it will be another major plank in this election. Though what I'm looking at really is the fact that people have made up their mind, one way or the other.
Whether there's insecurity or not. You know, even in some states where you have insecurity, the people have made up their minds to vote for the president. It doesn't, to those people, it doesn't change anything. In fact, look at in Zamfara, there are people that when you continue to highlight the insecurity in the state, they think you are waging a war against the president. That is the way some people think. Whereas you are raising alarm and trying to nudge government to act so that they can save their lives. But they will see you as enemy of government. The people that are called the extremist Buharists, this is the way they reason. You are taking an action for the good of the people, of everyone, but they will see you, okay, it's an enemy.
No, somebody gave classification that you have some Buharidins, and so we have...
okay, there is a difference between Buharidins and Buharis.
Buharis, yes. Buharidins and Buharis.
So which ones are more vicious?
It's the extremist Buharis that have issues.
No, February 16, we prove us right.
They always think that they love the president more than everybody.
All right, I want to thank you, Wale Adeoye, for being part of this edition. I want to thank you, Osioba, I Chief, Gani Kaide Balogun, Chief Gani Kaide Balogun, and the master himself, Babajide.
Well, we added Chief to his name now.
Chief,
journalists, don't use titles.
No, you must take it.
Don't use titles on this program.
Take your chief.
Don't start what we can't defend.
Thank you to Iba Gani Adams, the area and Okakan for recognizing one of our own.
We appreciate it.
And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubahun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.